with enough specificity that people can understand what the issue is. And if the applicant wants to object to any conditions of approval on constitutional grounds, they must raise those objections before me as well. If anyone feels they need more time to prepare, they can ask me to hold the record open or continue the hearing. If I hold the record open, you'll have the opportunity to submit additional written testimony and evidence before I make a decision. If I continue the hearing, we'll come back and do this again at a later date. But whether or not the hearing is continued or the record is held open for any other purpose, state law requires that I hold the record open for an additional week for the applicant alone to submit a final written argument without any new evidence. The applicant can waive that right if they choose. Anybody else wants me to continue the hearing or hold the record open, you must make that request before the close of the hearing today. When you testify, please come on up to the microphone there, make sure it's turned on. It doesn't look like it is right now. And begin your testimony by stating your name and your full mailing address. If you represent someone else, please say so. And that concludes my introduction. Mr. Augusto, you want to start us out?
Thank you, hearings officer. So we're just going to kind of run through staff's presentation regarding LU 2025-003 CUP.
It's not showing up on my screen now. It was when he opened it up.
Is it not? Oh.
Not a big deal. I can turn around.
Okay. Apologies for that.
Okay.
So the applicant with us today is AKS Engineering and Forestry LLC. The site is located at southeast corner of Southwest Langers Farm Parkway and Southwest Century Drive. The proposal includes a request to establish a use categorized as personal service catering to daily customers where patrons pay for or receive a service rather than goods or materials. To further define the scope of the proposal, it's limited to animal boarding and kennels / pet daycare facilities with no outdoor recreational area proposed at this time. The zoning is light industrial under PUD and has been processed under a type 3 hearing procedures. As you can see right there, there is a list of the applicable criterion that were associated with this this decision from staff. So everything from conditional uses, landscaping, transportation facilities, air quality, these were evaluated for compliance with applicable criterion. As you can see, the site location is part of a larger commercial plaza. Basically, the land use case history goes back to the 1995 PUD and extends all the way as recently as 2025 with another associated minor modification, which is being processed as a type 1 and is disjointed from this area. So it's kind of adjacent and within the same commercial plaza, but not associated with this particular application. The surrounding zoning is comprised of high-density residential and light industrial. The uses established on the site are primarily really all commercial in essence, so there isn't any issues with incompatibility with the land. The permitted uses, specifically within the LI zone, though, does allow for indoor animal boarding and kennels, which, because there is no outdoor recreational area proposed, would be classified under personal services as further delineated to your right of the screen. Standard procedures, the conditional use criterion is seen here above, basically looking at public facilities, conformance to other areas of land, and meeting the needs of the community as kind of devised in the applicant's narrative that was submitted and findings written in regards to. Does not pose significant adverse impacts to sensitive wildlife and such things, so on forth. To kind of get an idea of the area that this use is going to go into, we provided elevations and architectural renderings that kind of gave you kind of an idea of what the use is in terms of the structure that it's going into. This is a brand new building. They just got final, and it was approved under, I think, 2022 application. But it was reviewed for flex space. And then in turn, that's essentially tenant is moving in to inhabit that flex space. When you're looking at site plan area and access, majority of access is going to be part of coming off of Southwest Century Drive and then kind of utilizing the interior drive aisles and parking aisles associated with the commercial plaza. And when you're looking at the interior floor plan, you can kind of see that flex space that I was talking about, collectively equaling about 10,000 something square feet. City of Sherwood Engineering did review the proposal compliance with all applicable criterion and wanted to make sure that if there was anything that needed to be requested or caught with this proposal, that it was adequately done so. Particularly because there was no outdoor facilities, the scope was even further limited. And you can kind of see from the memorandum that was attachment B with the application submittal. Evolution of this staff report basically resulted in non-substantive edits. Stuff is like minor grammatical errors, period, comma, and other forms of punctuation. Nothing that would actually cause any major revisions to the information that's already been provided. Public notice routing was sent to effective and partner agencies on March 6, 2025. Mail notice, on-site posting and general wide city circulation was on or before March 5th and was posted in the Tiger Times between March 13th and March 20th. At the time of this hearing, no public comment has been received by staff and nobody has signed up to provide public testimony at this hearing. So with that, staff finds the application LU 2025-003 CUP dog daycare facility will meet the applicable requirements of the city code as described in the findings and conditions of approval in the staff report dated March 24th, 2025. Therefore, staff recommends the hearing officer approve the application subject to the findings and conditions of approval described in said staff report. The hearings officer does have the ability to explore different alternatives. They can either approve the application based on the findings and conditions in the staff report dated March 24th, 2025, approve the application with revised findings and or conditions, or they can deny the application with revised findings. And that's it for staff.
Thank you. I just noted one minor typo on the front page. It lists the hearing date as March 27th. It should be the 31st. I don't think it affects anything because it was before this. If anybody had shown up on the 27th, you would have heard about it.
Yeah.
So I don't think that created any issue. I just wanted to note that and correct it for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you. The applicant's opportunities.
Good evening.
Good evening. I don't think you're on yet. Isn't it green when it's on? Or is it red? Mine's green, but yeah, I had the same issue. So
What about now?
no, I don't think so. Is it? Oh, he says that it is. So I guess it's red on this one. You're special.
Alrighty. Good evening, and thanks to staff and Mr. Turner for your time tonight. My name is Marie Holliday with AKS Engineering and Forestry LLC. And for the record, my address is 12965 Southwest Herman Road, Suite 100, Tualatin, Oregon, 97062. And up for your consideration is the conditional use permit involving 15200 Southwest Century Drive. Next slide, please. Again, my name is Marie with AKS, speaking on behalf of the property owner, Langer Storage 3 LLC, and AKS Engineering prepared the land use planning, civil engineering, and other services for the project here. Next slide, please. Staff gave a thorough presentation, so I'll go ahead and stay brief. The property is shown there in a dash blue with a blue fill there. The property is about 2.5 acres southeast of Langer Farms Parkway and Century Drive. The property is part of a greater Parkway Village South plat. You can see there the blue dash lines on the screen show the other lots that are involved in that planned unit development. The property is zoned light industrial PUD, and this application involves a conditional use permit for pet daycare, boarding, and grooming. Next slide, please. The subject site is associated with the approved and final site plan LU 2022-012. As you can see on the screen, primary access is from Southwest Century Drive there. The property is on the south side of Century Drive. The project is associated with shared parking, landscaping, utilities, lighting, and other trash and recycling facilities as part of the greater Parkway Village South planned unit development. With that said, there are no physical improvements planned with this application, and the site plan will remain unchanged. The building, however, is fully constructed. It received a certificate of occupancy issued in late December 2024. And the conditional use will operate wholly within the enclosed space. It amounts to about 10,200 square feet, and it's shown there with a purple dash line there across the greater storage facility. There are no exterior building modifications planned. And all necessary tenant improvements will be permitted in accordance with city and state regulations to accommodate the pet daycare and boarding facility in order to obtain the certificate of occupancy for that interior space there that's shown. Next slide, please. On the screen are photographs of the recently constructed building. On the right side of your screen is the front-facing elevation that faces Southwest Century Drive. So those windows there along the front, that's at the back side of the pet daycare use.
Okay.
On the south portion of the screen there is an image of the building. That elevation faces the parking lot. And so those building entrances shown as those roll-up doors and man doors, those will be the access points for the tenant. Next slide, please. And so in closing, the applicant agrees with the city's recommendation to approve the conditional use permit application. The applicant accepts the city's recommended conditions of approval, and we appreciate your time considering this application tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Just for the record, does anybody else want to say anything about this application? Didn't think so. Anything further from the city?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, anything, does the applicant want to submit a final written argument, or do you want to waive that?
We'll waive that.
Okay, with that, I'll close the hearing. I'll close the record. Based on the findings in the staff report, this application does or will comply with the approval criteria. So I will approve the application subject to the conditions of approval in the staff report without any changes. And that concludes our hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can't they all be this easy?